How's it going, people? So I might have mentioned this in previous videos of mine. I think I did in my 23 and no GF video, and I'm talking, of course, about my autism. So I want this to kind of be where I'm open about it and just kind of, I guess, story time. I want to tell you my story with it. So it's going to start from the beginning and to the present day. So I was diagnosed with autism in 1999, so 21 years ago at age 4. It was by a preschool teacher I had at the time. I guess I wasn't socializing with kids like other kids in the room were. And I don't know her name, obviously, but she let my mom know that, hey, I think your child, being me, is on the autism spectrum. So, we got tests done, and turns out, I had it. And so, from what I remember, I guess, in school at least, I mean, starting in preschool and even like all the way up into high school, I had like aides in the classroom to make sure I was on track, to make sure I did my work and all that stuff. And I have to admit, I was a little shit when I was 6, 7, even 8 years old. I was quite a pain in the ass. So, I don't think any of those people are watching this video. But if so, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm much better now. But I'll get to that. So, basically, I had a lot of sensory issues, right? And I still do to this day. For example, I think the biggest thing is every first Tuesday of the month in Chicago, they test the tornado sirens at 10 a.m. Now, this is a sound I just could not tolerate. I just did not like the sound of it. It goes like, and it rotates for about a few minutes or so. And I just couldn't deal with it. So there were teachers who made it so that I didn't have to hear it. So I would like wear headphones. I would listen to like a story or something like that. In third grade, I guess my mom made some kind of a deal with like the school that I can like come late on those particular days, so I didn't have to hear it. Eventually, I think they said, "Oh yeah, you can't do that anymore." And I didn't throw a fit or anything. I just kind of took it as is, and I made it so that I slowly but surely was okay with the sound, and I was able to tolerate it. This took a long time, by the way. I'm talking like high school, like 14, 15 is when I finally got over it. Fireworks was another one. I got over this when I was about 13, 14. I was able to withstand the noise. However, when I hear M80s go off, I'm still like, I mean, my coping mechanism with it is, oh, these people are just blowing themselves up for Allah, or, there's suicide bombings, and then, or whatever. I just do it like that. It may not be the best thing, but that's what works for me. Dogs barking was another sound I couldn't tolerate. It, every time I'd hear it, I'd just cover my ears. My aunt and uncle had a dog for quite some time. I didn't like when he was over. It was hit and miss. So there were some times when I was okay with Dickens, the dog's name. He was a golden retriever. I was okay with his presence, but other times I just didn't like it. And when he was barking, I just couldn't deal with it. And again, this is something I got over when I was about when I hit the onset of adolescence, I think, so 12, 13 years old. Train horns was another thing that I couldn't really deal with. And that, again, like the other noises, I got over those. And in terms of tastes, there are certain things I couldn't eat just because I didn't like them. And again, I'm still kind of this way. When I took my study abroad trip to Germany, and I had pictures of that, you see on my other video entitled My Trip to Germany in 2018, there were times where I just wouldn't really like eat certain foods. Like everyone was like, oh my God, I can't wait to have doner kebab, which is basically like that, You ever see that thing where it's like it's spinning on like a rotating stick ever so slowly, and they have a big knife and they cut out slice off and put it in like this shell? It's like it's basically like tacos over there because it's Turkish, and there's a lot of Turkish in Germany. I mean, the Turks in Germany are like Mexicans here. They're the largest minority group. Thus comes the food. I didn't have tuna because it just didn't seem appetizing to me. I just stuck with things like currywurst, which is meh, and also like just schnitzel and stuff like that. But there were times where I would just totally skip a meal when I was there just because I didn't like particularly like the food. Um, and sometimes I just ate very little, and as a result, I didn't really go to the bathroom as much as I would. And that's another thing. Like my digestive system, like it's not the best, but I don't know. I guess it's not where it should be, but I'm making improvements basically because there would happen where I wouldn't poop for like a week or something like that or something crazy. There were times where I would have constipation even as a kid. So like yeah, so it would happen where they had to like do an enema thing or whatever, and then it would also happen where I would throw kind of like sort of fits or tantrums because I didn't want to do something. For example, that happened where there's like a family portrait of it's like my grandma, grandpa, my three cousins, and my sister. This is on my dad's side of the family. I was about maybe 4 or 5 at the time. I'm not in it because I remember I threw kind of an autistic sort of tantrum and I didn't want to do it. Um, there was another time in field day when I was in first grade where I heard a lightning siren go off, which just sounds like and it was so loud I just couldn't handle it. And we were doing like one of those pillow sack races, and I just stood there holding my hands. Everyone's like, "Go, go! What are you doing? Go, go!" Which brings me to my next point. I was not very sportsmanlike, so when I say that, I mean like I didn't like to get involved in like sports and stuff like that. I couldn't take it when people were like screaming at me to do certain things. Like I was in soccer, I didn't really like that too well because again, there was so many directions coming at me and I just couldn't take it. And same thing with like being in sports, like I just couldn't handle it. I couldn't handle like kids being like, "What are you doing?" and all that kind of stuff. So, in my head I'm just like, "Fuck off, man." So, again, I'm glad I'm not in school for that reason. There were times where I would just push teachers over the line, and I just because I didn't get something at first, I've had teachers lose their patience with me, and I have and also I had just this fear of tornadoes, and I still kind of do. Also, motorcycles is another kind of sound where it's like or whatever. The ones that are really loud, I'm just like, dude, grow a penis. Like, you're a fucking faggot. Like, again, not the most politically correct way to deal with it, but that's my way of dealing with it. So, and I was in occupational therapy as a young lad, about 5, 6 years old. I was in speech, again, because I was on ASD, or I'm still on it. Not because of of how I talked and shit, but just yeah. And I'm trying to think of other shit, but and just social skills. It still kind of affects me. It's kind of a lingering, I guess, aspect of it all, and so what I'm trying to say is, as a kid, I guess it was worse. I would flutter my hands and stuff. I would stim. I would make certain noises, and it would be so that I might have been unbearable with certain people. Like, it would happen where haircuts were, they would just shave my fucking head because I just couldn't sit still. You might say, oh, but any kid can do that. It was a bit different with me. But then eventually I was able to, get over certain things like that. I was able to get haircuts and, do all that. So, and again, there were just some sensory things I got over. There were some, other things I just got over. And I still have lingering aspects of my autism. And, I got a lot of, help and coaching. And there was even a time when I was in my junior or senior year of high school when they said, yeah, I don't think you really need to be in like these, like, special ed anymore. You don't need to be in, have like aides in the classroom anymore. TAs or not TAs, but assistants or whatever. So that was a huge breakthrough, I think. And, I struggled with math quite a bit, especially when I got to like junior high school when algebra came into the picture. Geometry I did okay at. I never really had a huge problem with the geometry, but definitely with algebra, that was just, I couldn't do that. And calculus, don't even get me started. In college, holy fuck, I couldn't do that either. But reading I got better at. Like reading was a huge struggle for me, I remember as a kid, but I got better at it. And I also don't really drive, so I don't drive a car because my my sensory, I guess, reaction time is, it's not bad, but it's not where it should be when someone is operating a motor vehicle. So I really don't trust myself behind the wheel. I've given driving a chance and I just couldn't handle it. So I mean, yeah, I'm just not really taking it upon it. Plus, like, it's gonna happen where I'm gonna move into the city where I won't need a car. You know, right now I'm in the suburbs, but I get by obviously, and I mean, shit. What else is there to say about this? You know, there was some bullying that went on, but nothing too bad. Nothing too bad, and I had a lot of support in high school from teachers, from even other kids. I was able to kind of have a good relation with, I guess, quote unquote popular kids as well as people on the football team and whatever. So I had friends in high school, definitely. And when I say friends, I don't mean like people I would hang out with outside of high school, cuz like, but just like people like who I would just be on good terms with there and would talk to and share a laugh or two. So, I never had any issues in high school. Junior high I did get picked on just, cuz I was pretty small, I guess, and people kind of, I was a bit singled out, I guess, among others. So, but again, I mean, this is still something I live with. It's still something I deal with day to day. Although it doesn't affect every aspect of my life, there are some things where it's like it doesn't really come in to play. Although I won't really go on roller coasters. I just don't like just rides I won't really go on. I'll go on airplanes, that's no problem. Some might think that's weird. It's like, oh, you won't go on roller coasters, but you'll go on planes? What? That makes no sense. So, yeah, I just wanted to like, eventually I also got out of speech because I didn't need that anymore. I just wanted to share this with all of you guys, just my story with autism and how it's affected me and how I still deal with it, how it kind of lingers on with my life. And that's about it, honestly. I just wanted to do this.